technical pieces on the backside here. That's not what I wanted. So I think this is only going to go to YouTube. Just hang on a moment, folks. Something's not right here.
They're on in our YouTube.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. It's Brian Terrian from the Disability Digest here with our Wednesday live event. Thank you for joining. Just a heads up, Philip, I don't believe this is making its way into Facebook group. So if you just put a ping in there to have them click on the link to join, that would be great. So listen, folks, super excited for today. We are going to talk about ways in which you can earn money, keep your benefits, ways that you could migrate from your current situation, if you so chose to, back into the workplace safely, successfully, hopefully. We have two employment experts with us here today that you're going to hear from. So we really hope you enjoy the show. When we did this about a year ago, it was one of our most viewed sessions. So if you're new here at the Disability Digest, welcome. Our goal is to be a trusted resource for you to help you navigate the Social Security disability benefit system. And that could be trying to get on benefits, or the topic today is maybe you want to supplement your income or migrate your way off of benefits. So that's what we focus on doing here. So we encourage you to subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned. We're here most Wednesdays for live events and other resources that we provide you. So Mike and Kathy, I invite you to turn your cameras on and enjoy the show. Thank you. Thank you. Mike, your microphone is muted.
There you go.
All right, we're back. So first of all, I'd like to introduce Kathy. Kathy, you have over 20 years of working in this space and helping people and get back to work on the vocational, on the VR side, right? And then now you're working at a higher level. We want to hear about more specifically about what you do, and helping people on a broader scale get back to work. So we're super excited to have you with us. Mike's story is a little different. Mike was in the medical profession industry as a chiropractor for a lot of your career. Something happened. You'll share your story and tell people why you had to leave your profession. And then you have worked your way onto disability benefits and then back off of disability benefits. And interestingly enough, you're now helping others that are interested in getting back to work. So thank you both for your contributions and participating today.
Sounds good.
Yes, and if you've been here before, you'll see our two familiar faces, Philip Price and Jam, who will be helping you with your questions today. So we will have a Q&A at the end. So you're welcome to enter your questions into the chat feature, and we will do our best to get those answered for you. Right?
Yep.
Okay, good. So first of all, Mike, if you would like to, I'd like to start with having you share your story. I gave a very like high profile, and then Kathy a little bit more detail on what you do to set the table for today's event. I'm sure both would be educational and inspirational.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So
I don't
Mike,
know
you're up
what's,
first. No pressure.
there you go. I don't know what's what. Thanks for having me, Brian. Yeah, so it's like Brian said, I was a chiropractor for a number of years, also a physician assistant. I worked in California. I was a California qualified medical examiner where I actually settled disability cases, disability medical legal cases from the medical perspective. I became disabled, bad back, multiple herniated discs, had to leave practice and went on disability for a while. Um, didn't want to stay there, worked back, started disabledperson.com, met Kathy, and the rest is history. Together, Kathy and I have forged forward, trying to help people with disabilities get back to work.
Very cool. Thank you. Kathy.
Well, Brian, something that you may not know about me, but as a young person, I had repeated middle ear infections. I have what's called otitis media. And in school, I was labeled a behavior problem. Mike might tell you I still am, which is a good thing. Um, so when my mom finally figured out what was going on, I had surgery on both of my ears and ended up doing undergraduate work in pediatric audiology, early identification hearing loss. And that's how I got into the profession, because I met a VR counselor who said, why do we look at people and think that we have to, quote, fix them? Why can't we just accept people where they're at and modify the environment? So I love that. I've been in the profession for 46 years, and really working with people like Mike has been incredible. My husband is deaf. He was a Social Security recipient, and his high school guidance counselor told him that the only thing he'd be able to do would be to pick apples. He ran away from home, enrolled himself in the state school for the deaf, and met a phenomenal VR counselor, and then sent his high school guidance counselor a picture of him shaking hands with President Clinton. So never say never. That's what I say. You are in control of your life, and
Right.
you have a good team behind you here. And Mike and I and Brian and Philip and Gemma, we're pushing. We're pushing. We're in this together.
That I hadn't heard that story before. The piece about your husband is a total in your face. I love it.
I know. We still have that picture hanging in our house of him shaking hands with President Clinton.
Yeah, next time you come back, if you want to tell the story again with the picture, that would be powerful. Very cool.
I'll have him tell his own story. How about that, Brian?
Oh, yes. Yes, yeah, that's good. So before we get into the different like aspects of employment and what the options are, I just want to address like what I'll call the first phase. I mean, if you just want to work part-time and earn some money every month, you can do that and you don't have to be involved in any special program. So this link to this and others is in the show notes. Just go in the YouTube description and you'll see it. But if you're a disability recipient and you stay below the SGA, which is on this page right here that the video will guide you to, and suggest like 20% below the SGA, which is on the screen, is $1,110. You can do that every month and it doesn't have an impact on your benefits. So, it's totally safe to do something part-time. Many, many people do. But what we're going to talk about today are what some of the other options are for going back to work. We'll talk about the trial work period, ticket to work program. There is a new program out that allows you to make money, earn money, and safely put it into a secure account legally and not have it impact your benefits. So we're going to talk about that today. It almost is one of those too good to be true things. So that's the highlights of what we're going to do. So first is let's start with the ticket to work program and explain that to the people. So and this is where a lot of people are thinking that if they go back to work, they have to use the ticket to work program. And that's actually not true. Mike, well, we just talked about this off camera. You went back to work before the ticket to work program existed, right? Oh, your mic's on mute. There
Yeah,
you go.
I went back. No, the program was in existence when I went back. I just did it on my own. I do want to make, if you don't mind, Brian, a correction of what you said a couple of minutes ago, regarding the safety below the SGA. There is
Mhm.
there is a number that starts the trial work period. I think in 2024 it's like $870. If you're below that, you're safe. If you're above that, from that point to the SGA number, you enter the trial work period, whether you want to or not.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you have to, that is at the end, that will accrue and accumulate the 9 months, start to accrue in the 9 months.
Okay, that's good to know. So it's not like we do not consider the trial work period as showing disability has ended. Um, so there's a different figure that's out there, right?
Yeah, trial work period, it's a couple hundred less. I think it's like 870 for 2024. I'd have to look it up. I don't
All right.
recall
All right.
the exact number. But if you stay below that number, then yeah, you can work and collect that and there won't be any issues. But if you get past that number, even if you're below the SGA, the clock is ticking on the trial work.
Okay, good. Appreciate that. It's a lot to learn. There's a lot of different nuances and different rules for going back to work. So let's start with the Ticket to Work program, and this is the website that they have where you can go back to work. And the Ticket to Work program is really designed to give people an opportunity to go back to work like safely, right? And with the Ticket to Work program, there are some benefits to going back to work through the Ticket to Work program, or you don't have to, like Mike went back to work without it. But where I have seen this more common lately with the Ticket to Work program is for people that go through the disability approval process with certain conditions, such as that have a closed period of disability. I mean, it may take them 18, 24 months to recover. You can still get on disability benefits for a closed period and use one of these options to return to work, like stroke, cancer, even COVID. There's some people that have worked their way through it, Lyme's disease, hip replacements. So things like this are where it's really common, but there's others like Mike, you don't fall into this category and you managed to get yourself, good enough to get back to work. So anything to add on the Ticket to Work program as far as who it might be ideal for and how it works? Either of you, Mike, Kathy?
I think the Ticket to Work program, it's a safety factor, right? So if you want to feel safe while you're trying to go back to work, then you need to, find the employment network and enter the Ticket to Work program. While you're there, you still keep your medical benefits, which is a big deal, right, for people in our community. So it is a safety thing. When you do it on your own, it's challenging all the record keeping, all the getting in touch with Social Security monthly, all that stuff. It's challenging. You have to keep real detailed records.
Mhm.
So it does help, and it is safer.
So you can
Yeah.
keep your disability check for a
And
period of months and your Medicare?
you keep your Medicare
Mm-hmm.
while you're
Okay.
transitioning to full-time work, and then you can keep it up until, I think, what is it, Kathy, like 72 months? I think it's 72 months.
Yes.
You
Mhm.
you can keep that.
Okay. All
So,
right.
that's the benefit. And then when you go over the SGA, well, if you go over the SGA while you're going back to work, then there's a proration of your benefit, but you keep
Okay.
the medical.
I also have read that one that's in the Ticket to Work program is not subject to a continuing disability review.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
okay.
Correct.
All right.
But
Right.
those usually,
Well, and I think with the,
go
I'm
ahead,
sorry, Mike.
go ahead, Kat.
No, no, please go ahead and finish your thought. I was going to add on to that.
Oh, I was just going to say that, those continuing reviews are 3 or 7 years. So if you enter, if hopefully you're going to be back to work within 3 years, or
Yeah.
decide
Yeah.
that you're not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
What I
for
was going to add, Brian,
Mhm.
too, is I think that the ticket to work was really developed to give people choices. So you can choose where you want to use your ticket, whether it's a VR agency or an employment network. And like Mike said, there's a number of benefits and services that you get from being engaged in either one of those
Okay.
support systems.
All right. So there's extra resources and some safety. Yeah. Very nice. Okay.
I think the thing you really have to understand, when you decide to come off of Social Security, that's your safety net, right? When you
Mm-hmm.
can't work anymore, you have some income. It's a very emotional time, and you can't diminish the emotionality of it and the fear that's involved in it. So a lot of people need that support.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the reasons why it's there.
Yeah. This is maybe catching you on the fly with this question, but like mindset is, there's got to be some mindset that one needs to have, right, to overcome that. Am I making sense?
Yes. Yes. There's there's when you're on Social Security disability, at least when I was on Social Security disability, there's you just don't, if you've accomplished anything in your life, you feel like that was all erased.
Mm.
Um, and so that was my drive to get back to doing something. I just couldn't
Mm-hmm.
take just being on disability anymore. I couldn't take thinking about having to report to Social Security to do this, to do that. And I was like, I got to get off of here. Or I'm just gonna. So I found another way. I found a way to do something else that would, still allow me to do something positive with my disability.
Right. Right. Very cool. Um, so we're going to walk through, like, if for people that are out there, we're talking about we talked about the avenues. You can do things on your own, stay below the allowed amount. You can pursue going back through the ticket. Anybody want to speak to what the trial work period is and how that fits into all this?
Kathy, do you want to? You want me to? Or
Uh, I, I think we've said that, the trial work period is a safe period of transition.
Mm-hmm.
I think particularly when I've worked and supported individuals like my brother, I'm my brother's rep payee, where disability has occurred due to an accident, illness, something, life changes in an instant, right?
Yeah.
And, part of that safety period is first getting the supports in place. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about that, but I wanted to reinforce what Mike said.
Mhm.
that support of helping people understand disability as a medical label. You're still who you are.
Yeah.
And it requires you to maybe look at some different skill sets and to think about how you would do things differently. But that key is that shift into looking at other opportunities for yourself. And I think the trial work period gives you a chance to explore some of that
Mhm.
in a safe way. So, Mike, I don't know if you want to add.
Yeah, I think I don't know if you want, thank you, Kathy. I don't know if you want some more didactic definitions of it, Brian, if that's what you're looking for.
I
But
think what would be helpful, Mike, for people to understand is we have the Ticket to Work program that we've talked about. Does somebody need, what is the trial work period, like the number of months and what happens during that period?
sure.
And do they need it? Does it have to interface with Ticket to Work, or can they do it independently?
Yeah, good question. So the answer to the second question is you can do it independently. You don't need to interface at all with Ticket to Work. What it is you have 9 months to determine whether or not you want to go back to work. That's 9 cumulative months throughout your life. It's not per year. It's not when you feel like it. And those are important things. So if you work 3 years in 3 months in 2020 and another 4 months in 2021, and you only have 2 months left to the trial work period if you want to try again in 2024, right? During that period, you can make whatever you're going to make, and still keep all your benefits, still keep your monthly check. The big thing about the trial work period is you have to check in with Social Security monthly. They want to get your monthly pay stubs. And if you don't do that, then that's fraud. So you have to make sure that
Right.
you do that. When you do that, I highly suggest that you copy everything that you send to them and keep a copy for yourself and then send the stuff in to them. And the
Mhm.
reason being is that they are notorious. There's so many people, on Social Security disability. They're notorious for losing things. When
Mhm.
I finally got to the point where I was going back to work, um, they said that I owed them a ton of money because I didn't give my stubs and I didn't do all this other stuff. And I said, no, that's not true. And I produced a copy of every check. I produced when I mailed it into them, I sent it registered return receipt. So I had a signed signature from them, and I had that with every check. So when I made copies of all that and sent that in, they came back and said, yeah, you're right. But there have been stories of people who haven't kept good copies and then owing Social Security money when they go back.
Mm.
So you got to be really careful.
You don't want that. But let's walk through a hypothetical. Somebody knows they're going to go back to work. They're a stroke victim and they recover. They could go through the 9 months trial work. They could double dip, right? They could
Yep.
also do the Ticket to Work program.
Yep. You just
Um,
if you did the Ticket to Work program is kind of Social Security knows because you're going through an employment network or VR, right? Trial
yeah,
work period, they won't know unless you tell them. So
yeah,
if you decide you want to do that, you need to make a phone call to Social Security and saying, I'm going to try and go back to work
yeah,
and I want to set up, and they'll connect you to somebody local where you can
yeah,
talk with
yeah,
monthly and stuff.
yeah. Yeah, if I was unfortunately faced with that situation, I'd give a real serious consideration to the double dip to recover some of the lost income for sure. Um, but yeah, okay, so that's good. So we've talked about, we're kind of reverse engineering this as I think about whoever laid out the agenda. Probably could have been done differently, but hopefully it'll all make sense to people. That's me. So I want to talk about, we've talked about like going back to work and the technicalities of it and what the different options are. But I want to shift and talk about what's going on in the world of like employment. And I know, Mike, you've got a lot of new exciting stuff going on in like the job board environment. So let's dig into that. Like, how many people are in the job boards? What are the job boards are about? Are they exclusive? Are people getting poached and all that stuff?
Well, First of all, yeah, you're talking about talent acquisition portal. And that was a brainstorm of Kathy's actually. She came up with the idea, and Kathy and I had a discussion. I don't even remember the year anymore. In Louisville, Kentucky. And she had this idea, and we were able to bring it to life. And we've, Sable Person, CSAVR have partnered on this portal. There's currently over 38,000 active candidates there. There we have candidates from Voc Rehab, from Veterans Administration, from Social Security Ticket to Work, and we have streaming over 400,000 jobs monthly on this site. So it's an invitation only site. So if you want access to it, if you're out there and you're working with a Voc Rehab, Employment Network, or VA, you have to get your counselor to invite you to the system.
I'm showing the forbidden fruit on the screen. Folks, listen to Mike though. It's invite only. Right?
Invite only. Yeah, I get multiple emails a week saying I want access, and sorry, I can't give you access. You have to be invited. So you have to go back to, if your counselor doesn't know about TAP, then have them talk to their supervisor. Pretty much all the states are on.
Right.
The Veterans Administration, the Veterans and Readiness Employment Agency, they're all on. We're working with, I think it's 64 out of 425 employment networks across the country. If your employment network is not on TAP, just have them send me or Kathy an email and we'll get them on. We don't charge the employment networks or the candidates to get on the system.
Okay, so I'm kind of stuck on the numbers here. There's 400,000 jobs and 38,000 job seekers. Did I get that right, Mike?
You got that right. Yeah.
It's pretty good odds, isn't it?
Right.
Pretty good odds. Pretty good odds. And the
All
jobs
right.
that are there are, blue collar to, nuclear physicists. I mean, like there's a full gamut. We work with, most of the employers are federal contractors. So they're working with federal government, so they have compliance regulations to hire within our community. So
Right.
we give them a place to come to.
Right. So we're going to
And we
talk
work with
about
that, Brian, we work with those businesses behind the scenes too. I think that's a key thing for the difference with the talent acquisition portal. Businesses told us when we started developing this, and hats off to Mike and his team for really thinking this through, because they were early on in understanding that we have to be cautious about job boards because they generally screen people out, right? AI and algorithms may help individuals do things more quickly, but they can also screen people out. So working with the Office of Federal Contract Compliance and the EEOC and a number of our business customers and a number of individuals with disabilities allowed us to build a fully accessible platform that allows people to have choices based on where they live or where they want to work, as well as their job categories. And we're working with the businesses behind the scenes to provide the support they need, because a lot of the businesses said we want to do more than just post and pray. We want to be proactive and engaged, and we want support because we just don't know what we don't know. We want support if someone needs an accommodation and we don't know where to go, or assistive technology, or etc. And the portal includes a resume builder that prompts people, because businesses said a lot of times individuals don't include key skill sets, like do you speak a second language? Do you have a security clearance, etc.? Things that you might not think about. So it prompts candidates to think about that. And for business, it's a known talent pool of individuals that they want to draw from intentionally, and those jobs refresh. So it's not like we have jobs sitting up there for extended periods of time.
Right,
So, but
right.
Mike can talk about the technical side. That's not my area of expertise. It's his.
Yeah, I know from the Disability Digest, we have individuals that work here that are disability recipients, but we're definitely looking forward to partnering with you for our needs in the future. And you know, when you started explaining it like on tap, I'm just thinking, wow, what a great phrase. The first thing that comes to mind for me, of course, is going to a bar and having like a tap, right? A beer. So like on tap with a logo, and you've got something coming out of the tap that's related to I mean, it's just you've got lots of potential with
Lots of potential.
Yeah.
Well, the
I'll get
tagline is tap into talent.
Yeah.
All right. That's the tag. Kathy came up with that.
tap into talent. All right,
Tap
I'll get back on track. Is there any like standout stories of people that have been through the portal that have been put back out of the 38,000 that are in there now? Is there any stories that stand out, Mike?
Kathy has a story from Alaska, as she can tell.
Yes. Yes. We have a gentleman who the Alaska Vocational Rehab Agency was supporting. He lives in Nome, Alaska. And if you're familiar with Alaska, Nome is an area where there is not a lot of, well, basically no public transportation. And this gentleman is a person who uses a wheelchair, lots of skill sets, had an accident, but has lots of skill sets and transition those to online skills. And he was struggling to find employment and found a remote position via the talent acquisition portal and is now working. And, you know,
Very nice.
it's again, never say never, right? And one thing that we learned from the pandemic is that remote work can be very efficient. It's all how you set people up for success.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good, good. I know, Mike, you have a hard stop coming up, but I want to make sure we cover a few things before we get into the Q&A part. So folks, if you're out there and you have a question relative to this topic, we're going to prioritize it for Mike and Kathy. Feel free to enter it into the chat either on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll get to those. So now let's talk about the gateway of going back. Like, how does somebody, I'm talking about getting a invite into the portal. They need to go through Voc Rehab. Walk us through those steps. Like, if somebody's thinking about getting started and they haven't done anything, what do they do?
Speak with their counselor. Or John,
And if they don't have one,
if they don't have a counselor from the VR, the VA, or you know, the Ticket to Work,
yeah,
they can't access TAP. It's set up for the counselor to invite and the counselor to work with the candidate.
could they get one?
Could they get a counselor?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they can apply for VR benefits or call a employment network and sign up with an employment network and get onto TAP through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, Brian's
Okay.
posted the access to the state vocational rehab agencies. So
Yeah.
do you mind if I kind of describe this? What's going on?
Please.
Okay. So ENs, there's also a link where you can find the EN. Those are generally smaller community programs, vocational rehab agencies, 78, every state, the territories, and District of Columbia. In some states, there are 2 agencies, one that specializes in supporting people who are blind or have a vision loss, and then what we call a general agency. In some states, those agencies are combined, but they serve the broad spectrum of individuals with disabilities. If you are a Social Security recipient, there's what they call presumptive eligibility. So if you are coming to VR, that's one of the key things to make known right up front. There is an eligibility process for the program, and Social Security recipients have presumptive eligibility. I think working with a VR agency or a Ticket to Work program, an employment network, or if you're a veteran with a service acquired disability the VA works the same way. If you're a veteran who has acquired their disability after service, the individuals like my brother will access the public VR system. But it gives you a chance to explore career goals, think about what you want to do, look at how do you want to use the skill sets that you have, and how do you transition your past experience into what are the current skill sets. Do you need training? We work with access to apprenticeship programs, work-based learning, universities. um, there's a lot of ways to get the training that you need. Mike, maybe when on another session, could talk about a new online platform that is fully accessible and training people in skill sets in IT, which are very competitive right now, and training people so that they're eligible to sit for certification in IT and other business related areas. Maybe we can put that on the Abilities to Careers Technical Virtual Academy. And it's a platform that was built along with support from Microsoft. So there's different ways to access that. And I think the other thing is thinking about the gig economy for individuals who want to work as contractors, 1099 employees. There's a lot of opportunities out there now, and that seems to be growing. When you're working with a VR agency or an EN or a VA counselor in the VR&E program, what you have access to is a benefits planner to understand how this all impacts your Social Security. If you're setting up like 1099 employment, working with a CPA on how to do that. The training programs eligible. There's even a relationship between Voc Rehab and the ENs where Voc Rehab can help set up on the front end. And if there's long-term supports, they may transition to an employment network that will sit behind the person for that long-term types of support. So hopefully that's kind of gives you an overview of how the systems work and how they support individuals as well as collaborate.
Thank you. What I understood from that, somebody can go from I've scrolled through, I stopped at Puerto Rico because I'm intrigued with Puerto Rico right now. But anyway, you can go get set up with Voc Rehab, get a benefits planner, and they can help you with resources and a plan to go in the direction that you want to go. Now, what I heard from you, Kathy, is it doesn't need to be a ticket to work, trial work. You could use them just to kind of figure out like something that you may already know you want to do, right? That's different than that. Or maybe you just don't know. You want to check out the feasibility of it. Could they help with that too? Say, all right, well, this is my situation. What do you think? I have a shot at this?
Yeah.
Cool.
Career exploration is pretty common. And with a lot of individuals, whether you're born with a disability or you acquire it later in life, it's figuring out what you want to do, how you develop the skills to be competitive in that career. And I will say, just being honest, Brian, every state agency runs a little bit differently because though these are a federal state funded program, they're operated at the state level. So sometimes the benefits planners will sit within an agency, or sometimes they sit within a community partner like an independent living center. But there's communication there. So make sure you make the request.
All right. Next thing is, I want to talk about the new changes for the ability to make money, put it into a safe, secure account legally, and what it is and who might qualify for it. And then for those of you out there, if you've just joined us, we're going to have a Q&A here in a few minutes. And I know, Mike, you're running tight on time. I'd love to have you stay, but I understand you're going to have to leave us in a few. So understood. So how do we want to break this down? Can we spend like 3-4 minutes on the highlights? This link is in the show notes. Like, who would be ideal candidate for this? What changes have been made? How much money can they save? Is it really legal?
So the ABLE accounts, yes,
Yes.
legal. And they were passed in 2014, a piece of legislation there that you've got up here, Achieving Better Life Experience Act. And it enables the beneficiary to earn income and save that up to a certain amount that won't be taxed. And when it was initially set up, it was for individuals who had acquired a disability at 26 years or younger. But in January 2026, that age will increase to 46 or younger. So
Okay.
that's where there's positive changes. But again, this is a piece of legislation that was driven by the community, by people with disabilities, understanding that we all need a cushion, right, as we're making transitions in life.
Sure.
And so
One
that's
thing,
what it enables people.
okay, sorry to interrupt you, but one thing I want to drill down on is the age. It's currently 26, but you don't have to be 26 or younger, and it's moving to 46. Would you just, my understanding is it is the diagnosis
Hmm.
drives it prior to that
Right.
age. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So if you are 50 and you're in a car accident when you're 50, this isn't going to apply. But, when the age goes to 46, if you were diagnosed with, God forbid, something when you're 45, then this could apply to you, right?
It could, yes.
Okay.
And I think as you've seen that it shift 20 years, and increase to coverage, we could see those same changes happen again. So, again, this has been driven by the community and families and individuals who really
Mhm.
understand the need to have that cushion as you're making transitions in life.
Okay. So the last few points I want to make is there's different ABLE accounts in different states that have different limits.
Mhm.
But if you qualify for one of these, you can save up to the allowed amount in that account and have no impact on your benefits, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so then that would kind of supersede any of the back to work programs, right? If until you hit the income threshold. So let's say you're going to work and put $5,000 a month into an account and you can have up to $550,000 in it, right? Would you still how would that, or would it interface or need to interface with any back to work program?
You definitely would. As Mike said, Social Security takes a close look at everything. So whatever you do, always coordinate with your Social Security agency as well as your state level program.
Yeah.
So yeah, because there is an interface there, and Social Security may look at different situations in different ways. And that's why the
Okay.
combination of a benefits planner, and if you're working with an ABLE account, that combination is going to be very, very key for individuals.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that, because I'm
Yes.
sure there may be one person out there that's listening to this that's the same mindset that I did. Good. Let's transition to taking some questions. And the 4 minutes that we have left, if there's any that stand out, Mike, that you think would be best suited to be directed to you, is there any any guidance you can provide, Philip or Jam?
Yeah, sure. Um, all right. Here's one from Tracy Anderson, YouTube Live. Um, a gentleman I know entered into a ticket to work. He made as much as he wanted. However, within 2 to 3 months, he was cut off SSDI. Why did this occur?
Mm.
I think when we talk about all these numbers,
Mhm.
that's great. And there's limits to this and limits to that and parameters for this. But the bottom line is right? When you're on Social Security disability, the definition of getting that is 100% totally permanently disabled. So going back to work, if you're showing them that you're not 100% totally permanently disabled, they're going to take away your benefits. I mean, if you go from, being on Social Security disability for a mobility issue, a back issue, but then you go to work, even on a trial work period, and you go to work as a construction worker laying bricks, there's pretty good indication to Social Security that you don't have that disability anymore.
Mm,
So nothing is written in stone. What all those things are and the parameters are, yeah, if you find a way, like I'm doing something totally different than what I was trained to do. I retrain myself, something that doesn't impact my body. If you're doing something that impacts your body in relation to what your disability is that you claimed, yeah, they're going to look at that. Same thing as you say, okay, I have people who say to me, well, how many hours can I work and still be under this point? It depends. Are you making $20 an hour or $10 an hour? If you're making $20 an hour and working 5 hours a week, or if you're making $5 an hour and working 20 hours a week, if you're working 20 hours a week, Social Security could think, hey, they could work. They're working 20 hours a week doing this. So that's where what Kathy said, the benefit plan and getting some support and help and understanding really helps.
good point.
And with that, I have to bow out.
All right.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
Round of applause,
Thank you,
everybody, for
sir.
Mike. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay.
Till
Thank
the
you.
next time. You be
All
well.
righty.
All
Bye-bye.
right. All right, everybody, keep the questions
Right.
coming. Kathy is now on the hot seat. We'll direct them to Kathy. I'm sure she'll do just fantastic.
All right.
Um,
Okay. Here's one from PJ. Is this Ticket to Work program with Medicaid or Medicare? Um, I found new career, but I am disabled and I don't know how things will go. How do they choose who to give the ticket to work to?
You look at what's available in your state, and it may be based on location. If you want to work with a vocational rehab agency, is there an office close to you? What is the process? Or if there's a ticket to work program and employment network, then that's an option. It really is personal choice about where you choose to get your services.
mhm.
All right.
And that's what the ticket did, was expand that.
All
Yeah.
right. And what happens with Ticket to Work if you realize you aren't ready to go back to work?
Well, I mean,
Same.
you explore the options, and if you're not ready, you're not ready.
Yeah.
You know,
Right. All right. Here's one from Aris. I keep getting calls from Ticket to Work program, but I cannot work due to taking pain medications. But they do keep calling me.
Is that a
Um,
question or a statement?
More of like a statement. There was a follow-up. One sec. So in summary, he is asking how to stop getting those calls.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Also, but here's the follow-up. But also, when I had my hearing, the vocational person stated that there isn't any jobs I can't do, due to me being medicated, condition. So why do I keep getting calls from Ticket to Work program?
sounds like they're pretty
It's a full
aggressive.
statement.
Yeah.
sounds like they're marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they get paid to get people back to work, the Ticket to
Right.
Work program. So there's a financial incentive, which will perhaps explain the persistence. It's got to be a way they can get off of it. I mean, it's just not really I don't think it's in your area of expertise. So, yeah, we're going the other
Right.
way, helping people get on or get back to work.
All right. Can you stay under 1,110 and continue receiving SSDI benefits indefinitely?
Well, That's been my experience for 18 years is 1,000 is the SGA because it doesn't trigger it. And Mike had a different opinion, but I haven't researched that. So until I do that, I'm going to hold with that. And I'll say this for the audience out there. We're in year 18 here at the Disability Digest, and there's been people that have worked here that have been disability recipients since 2007. And we've operated under that guidelines, and we haven't had any challenges. Yes, people get reviewed, that's part of the process, but passing the reviews has not been a problem.
All right.
And
from
once you meet with Social Security, I think, I mean, I don't know what your experience has been, Brian or Philip, but setting up an online account to be able to report things can make it easier. But Mike was right on about keeping your paperwork.
Yeah.
And even when I went to the Social Security office when my brother first started working right before the pandemic, I even kept the ticket, my number, to get served at that office as evidence that I was there. So, yeah, protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
From Bori, how does the government allow you to work if they are paying you because you're disabled? What legitimate jobs are available working from home, only 2 to 3 hours per day?
So there's two different questions. There's a number of jobs that are available. We're seeing a lot of companies look at remote work for things like customer service or technical support. That's a pretty common one. Medical records. No, there's a number of positions that can be done remotely.
Yeah.
And again, it depends on go ahead.
Also, yeah, sorry. Yeah, also
No,
data
that's fine.
entry, different, a
Yeah.
lot of social media platforms.
Yep.
Yep. They boosted that. Oh, sorry. You want to add something?
No, I'm just saying never, because we're seeing, I think a positive side of the pandemic is that businesses explored a lot of different ways of doing work. Now, working remotely, what we have to figure out is to set the person up for success. And if you're dealing with something like a vision loss or blindness, how to make sure that the systems are accessible and can interface with any technology that you use.
All right. Do you have a question, Phil?
Not on this subject. I don't. Not having access or the live feed to the Facebook group. I don't have any right now.
Okay. So, from Tracy, so how do I know which directions to go contacting Social Security myself, or go through Ticket to Work for part-time work to supplement my income?
Tracy, I don't know you. I don't know you, so that's a hard question to answer. I don't know where you're at. I mean, you can always reach out to the programs that are in your area and do some exploration to see what they have available.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I have a progressive condition. My SSDI isn't enough to make ends meet. How do I bridge that gap if the goal is to supplement SSDI?
You're
getting some toughies, Kathy.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, I think the key thing working with individuals is to an individual plan. You can say I have X disability, but it doesn't say what you want to do, where you want to go, and how we set you up for success. And that's what that individual planning process and working with either an employment network or a VR agency, that's why that's so key, is to explore those options for you based on your own goals and skills.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I mean, it's kind of like dating, right? We don't know what the preference is or what somebody's looking for or what their limitations and likes and dislikes are. But if you go and you sit with a planner and you have that, then okay, well, that's a good start. Then you can kick around some ideas and maybe you want to go in this direction. Yeah. A lot of these questions, just to me, it seems like, Kathy, they're just leading back to get a plan, right?
Yeah, I agree. This one, what about self-employment? Does SSDI look at net or gross income? It's net, right? Is it?
So I think the key thing here, because like I said early on, the gig economy is growing. So we're seeing more people working as 1099 employees. The key there is working with a benefits planner, but also working with the CPA. So if you're setting up your own small business, what's deductible, right?
Mm-hmm,
Because you have
mm-hmm,
expenses to set up a business. So
mm-hmm.
that's the key piece there.
Yeah, and I will say there's more deductions than a normal able-bodied person that you have access to. Even like support animals can be used as a deduction, which could be their cost and their food, and there's just a lot of a lot of different tax deductions and benefits.
And, just like anyone that may use an accountant to do your taxes, having worked in the government, there are things that change every year, right? Regulations, process. That's why I so highly recommend benefits planners. That's their area of expertise. A CPA, that's their area of expertise for small businesses. So ask for that support.
And so those CPAs are provided as part of the program. Like there could be a no cost like CPA advice provided.
Mhm.
Wow.
If it's part of
We have a
setting up
lot of
your own
tax.
small,
Okay.
right.
A lot of
If
tax
it's part
questions
of
like that.
setting up your own, if you're setting up your own business. So like I said, I support my brother. He's a 1099 employee and his VR agency helped connect him with a CPA to get it all set up as he started
Beautiful.
looking. So
Beautiful.
yeah, that was one of the support systems that enables him to work.
Okay. We have about 5 minutes left. So if you have a question that has not been answered out there, you're welcome to enter it and we'll do our best to get it to Kathy in time before we wrap up the show here today. Some great questions. Keep them coming.
All right. Here's one from John. For me, I worked 60 to 70 hours a week when my issue started, and I had to cut down to 15 to 20 hours a week because of my disability. I can't earn what I used to, so the government takes care of me. My question is, I was working part-time when I won my case this week. Congratulations. I just had surgery and will go back part-time, way under SGA. Social Security told me I could do that permanently and it will not affect my SSA. Is that true? Yes.
I say of Social Security. And what I want people to think about, the government's not supporting you. I mean, they are in the way the Social Security program works, but you paid in, right?
Yeah.
This is why we all pay in.
Yeah.
Because it gives us that support.
Yeah. Just one more thing on that question, Jam. If you are advised this or anything from Social Security, ask for the regulation that is associated with it. Like I showed you earlier today, what triggers a trial work period. So I just strongly encourage you to get whatever it is in writing or ask for it's called the Code of Federal Regulations. There's actually something that has been passed into law about this. Otherwise, you could get hung up, and many have, right? Good.
As Mike said, document, document, document.
Right on.
Your written communication and yeah.
All right.
All right. All right. Here's one from Darwin. I'm 100% disabled with TDUI and permanent and total, and I want to go to the university to occupy my mind to fight the PTSD. Can I use this? I'm thinking this is a little bit far out, but the question is, can I use VRE program, veteran readiness and employment program?
To go back to school, is that the question? Sounds like it.
Yes. Mhm.
All right.
And
Do you guys have
you know,
any?
again, I would say reach out to your VRNE program, reach out to the Veterans Administration, the VRNE program. They have a lot of supports for veterans, and you know, you may think of yourself or be categorized as 100% disabled, but maybe there's something that you find you like to do for part-time, and maybe the
Mhm.
schooling will trigger that for you. So explore,
Mhm.
explore.
So can I just chime in on this just to get some clarity on it, Kathy? The a benefits planner, if there was a skill set that could be, brushed up and education, college classes, something like that would help do it. That's something that somebody could possibly acquire through a planner.
Well, a planner would work with a VR agency or VRNE or an employment network to figure out how to do that and
Okay.
what the impact would be on benefits so that the individual has the information they need to make a decision
Mm-hmm.
and what that plan would look like.
Okay. So could the impact on benefits be that if there's a cost associated with it, that it will somehow be paid for out of benefits? Is that what the impact could possibly be?
Uh, I mean, it could be, there could be a work-related expense.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be that, a VR or a VA or an employment network is covering that expense. It depends
Okay.
on how it fits into the plan for the person.
Okay, great. Let's take one more question from the audience before we wrap up today. There's one more out there.
All right. Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
Okay. I want to take some college classes. This is from Christine. Classes until cognitive functional fails. I do and will need disability and can't imagine going through the qualifying process again. Should I just remain playing it safe, quote unquote? And more information about her. My particular illness is degenerative. I'm now 48 years old, was 42 when diagnosed, and could have 10 more decent learning years and would love to finish degree. I started before I became sick.
Mm-hmm. So play it safe or go back to school, Kathy.
No, it's Christine.
Yeah, but the
Christine,
question's for Kathy.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
Christine,
Sorry.
again, I don't know your individual circumstance, but ask. The goal for programs is work. So whatever you're approaching VR about or employment networks, how does it relate to your work goal or your career goal, even if it's short term?
Yeah.
So that's what I would, approach it with in terms of exploration. And again,
Yeah.
I don't know your individual circumstance. So that's why that individual plan is so important.
My thought on this is I would encourage you to really think about the cost of playing it safe, not financially, but I mean, you got one trip on this planet. And if you're playing it safe for the concept of keeping benefits, which you could probably get back on if you got on it the first place, versus doing what's going to be arguably healthy for your mind, for your self-worth and all the other things. I'm not a psychologist, but that's what my take is, that you've got to take a look at, and a planner could help you do that. Right. Sit down and have a look at it. These are some really good questions.
Yeah.
Um,
Brian, I was gonna say, you know, after my brother's accident, he was like I said, he had his own business and he was helping my uncle roof a building and he was on a truss that broke and he fell 35 feet.
oof,
So he was airlifted into a trauma unit. He's a quadriplegic with a traumatic brain injury, and he was in a coma. And 2 weeks, you know, he woke up and said, "I've got to get back to work." I mean, that's just what drives him,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
he is back to work. And there
Mhm.
was a lot of things that they said that we fought, like you'll live in a nursing home, and we said, "Yeah, no, get us a new doctor." So, you know, never say never. He lives
Never say never.
independently. He drives. There are resources, and what sparks your energy?
What sparks your energy, your juice? This is
That's
good. So
right.
let's just hit the highlights that we covered with Mike and Kathy, which has been fantastic. So we talked about or attempted to communicate even doing something part-time. Like you can do that, have a low to no impact on your benefits, or actually I should say no impact on your benefits if you stay below the threshold that was at the beginning of the program. And we talked about the Ticket to Work program, how that can help you as a resource getting back to work. We talked about the trial work period. We talked about Tapability, the job board that Mike and Kathy have created, which sounds fantastic. There's 400,000 jobs, 38,000 applicants, but to get into it, you need to work with a benefits planner that will get you an invite and access to the goods. So those are some of the, and while we also caught you up on what's going on with the ABLE account. The age is being adjusted up to 46. And so you can put a bunch of money in an account for your resources. So the links to what we covered are in the description. The YouTube, if you're watching the replay, just scroll down and have a look at it. So that is the highlights. Kathy, thank you so much for coming out today. Yeah. Coming back, I should say. I'm sure this will be another popular, one of our live events.
Brian,
yes.
I believe in the abilities of people. And I just want everyone to understand, where do you want to go? And reach out to people who can provide support because they believe in your skills. They believe in your motivation and who you are. At the core, your disability does not define you. So it's something that we work with. And so BR, an employment network, independent living, the VA, we're all working together and we want to give you access to those supports.
Keep up the good work. Yeah. All right, folks. Thank you for placing your trust in us, for watching this. We invite you to subscribe, share this with somebody that you may know that wants to learn more about what their options are for making money, keeping their benefits, transitioning back to work. We have these events weekly. We encourage you to come back and join us. We have other special guests. Hopefully we'll have Kathy back and Mike back sometime soon. And then the best way that we can help you, for all you listening out there, is if you are looking for like a customized, personalized approach, like a benefit planner could help you with, then we can help you. And from our perspective here at the Disability Digest, if you find the Disability Digest link around the video, Jam, perhaps you can put it in the YouTube chat. Then you can fill out your profile, and that information helps us understand if you're trying to get approved, maybe you're already approved, and what your concerns are and how we can best e-how you to your destination faster. So we encourage you to do that. No charge for your membership. Kathy, Philip, Jam, thank you so much for your participation today. We hope this inspires and puts some people back to work. All right. Thank you very much. All right, everybody. Till the next time. Enjoy your day.